Alrighty guys, welcome to MagnoTrading.com. Welcome in, welcome on. A good solid green day today. One of my more emotional days in a long time. We're up $60,000 today. And I'll go ahead and explain a lot here in a moment. Give me about 45 seconds to get everything going here, get everything started. Hopefully you guys had a great trading day out there. Hopefully you guys have been trading well. I'm just setting everything up. Today is the 26th, correct? Okay. And then we got to change this document 60K. Where are you at? 60K. Boom, done. All right. So there's that. Hopefully you guys had a great trading together. Hopefully you guys have been trading well. I'm just getting everything set up. Give me about 30 more seconds and I should be ready to go here, okay? All right. I am live going over today's really emotional 60.6K trading day. Alright guys, about 20 more seconds and we should be good to go here. Just getting everything set up like I said. Team ideas, boom, done. Large caps. Alright, man, boom, done. Alright, there's that, boom, done. Cool. Now let me give it on social media here quickly.
LCID, 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 OSM.
Alright, give me a moment here. About 10 more seconds should be good to go here. Cool, where's that? Time live. Alright, big runners today were NUTX. We had MU or Veru. We also had Evoke. And then we had BKKT CYN. Alrighty guys. Live here at NoMagnoTrading.com. Good to have you guys on. Good to have you guys in. Let's go here, and go live. All right, hopefully you guys have been trading well out there. Hopefully you guys have been trading well. Studying hard. Yeah, I mean, it feels good to be back. Feels good to be trading like I know I should be. You know, that's basically it. You know, this is how I know that I can trade. I just need to get more discipline and more back against the wall. That's basically it. What's going on, Ella? What's going on, Chris? What's going on, Oli? What's going on, Need More Risks? What's going on, guys? What's going on, Steve Austin? Alan Fishing. I know you had a bad day today, but keep your head up. I've been there many times. And it kind of happened today. Okay? Again, guys, hope you guys have been trading well. Hopefully you guys have been studying hard. I know this is the way that I normally trade. I'm back into my normal way that I trade. I'm keeping it disciplined. I'm keeping my risk levels tight. I'm trading with my back against the wall. This is how I know that I can trade. I just simply, again, got complacent, got too comfortable. And it's not that I'm not comfortable in my life. To be honest, I got 2 homes that I'm working on now. One that should be done in a month and one that's going to take about a year and 6 months to build. So it kind of makes things tighter for me, which helps me perform, per se, I guess. But I'm hoping that I really take this next leg up now and I'm going to continue to perform with my back against the wall and not really needing it against the wall as much. But and not really feeling like it is against the wall anymore. But I'm doing my best to keep my mentality like that because that's the best way that I trade. Keep the risk levels tight. I trade the smartest. And yeah, so anyways, guys, let's go over my first trade of the day, and that was EVOC. I saw this one out of the gates. I started shorting this one at 133, so my average was right where this white line is right there. I woke up a little early today, and I saw this, and I'm like, okay, this thing's up 200+% trading that much volume pre-market. It was hard for me to get shares short because SSR wasn't filling me that well pre-market, but I started to get filled as I got a little bit more market open. And then this thing dumped, and I ended up covering at 113. So right about there was my cover. And this thing went all the way down to 80 cents today. It didn't have a huge sell-off until later in the day, but I mean, this was a massive sell-off to begin with. There was a decent long opportunity. I took a short and a long on it. And then Veru, luckily, you know, this thing bounced for me. Didn't get too massively sized, but I still had a pretty big damn position here. This one was a little too aggressive for my liking, especially with the setup. But 1420 ended up selling right in here. Goes all the way up to 1477. And then we ended up breaking lows, 1282 currently. So, you know, the reason why I longed it, long story short, we had a pop here. And then a retest of the lows and a massive pop here. And I thought we might get a retest of the highs. Seeing that pop. Luckily, when I saw this, I'm like, I'm going to take any dips. Because I thought, you know, after yesterday's pop, today's pop, you know, maybe we're going to get a retest of the highs and break out today. So I started to try and buy a little bit of the dips here. It was a little more extension on the dips. Again, I held through this, felt like Mara yesterday. And then ended up making a profitable trade on it. That was going to be my risk level. 1370 was my stop out zone. We tapped it by a decent. BKKT. Let's see here. This one I'm going to bounce. I tried to take. I thought the news was better, but I stopped out. And then NKTX was one that I took right in. So I saw this first pop here, second pop, and then I got interested on all the dips. I ended up scaling right there, and this thing retested that level, and it's still retesting that level, so I'm going to watch into tomorrow. And then the big trade of the day that you guys are waiting for, NUTX, okay? NUTX was a very emotional day for me on this one, to say the least, guys. And I'm going to go ahead and explain to you guys this entire trade inside and out and what happened, okay? So get ready for this trade. Get ready for all the reasonings. Get ready for all the things that happened because, man, this thing was a shit show. Pardon my French, but it was literally a shit show. I felt very convicted on this name. I saw this first pop, and I said, okay, once I started to short this thing on this pop here. You know, I like the pop here, and then the third pop. The third pop's generally where I short, but I felt very disciplined shorting right here because this was the fourth pop. On the yearly, guys, this thing has been absolutely annihilated, right? And I knew that. I've seen this before. I remember the stock ran from 10 all the way up to 52, I believe, in one day, and this thing just sold off. And when you see a massive rip and then a sell-off, sure, they can bounce like SKYH did, right? SKYH, it bounced, right? But this isn't, I mean, this thing bounced, and it traded $640 million today. The market cap, what's going on, Gary? The market cap is on this thing. It is $7.8 billion. Okay? So when I saw this thing ripping like this, I immediately was short biased. There was many reasons why. First of all, a lot of times when you get a former runner and it rips back up, it never, ever, ever retests highs. The only thing I've ever seen retest highs in history is GameStop. That's it. And it's still set up differently than this. So every time I see like another example, the reason why I was shorting Indo on this day. Okay, let's go back and look. We had, so former runner, right? This thing went from like $2 to $87, right? And then this day went from 15 to 27, and it went straight up. And I'm like, okay, I started to short it at the 25 range because it went straight up. I felt comfortable with the amount of volume that it was trading, and I also know these things. Look at what happened. If you were able to hold this, it comes right back down to where it started. Okay. So same concept on NUTX. The only thing that scared me a little bit was this was a newer IPO than I thought. When it's a newer IPO like that, if this thing had been, you know, trading for a year and this kind of sold off and popped, I would have been more convicted. But the fact that this was a COSM's all over the scanner. Okay. The fact that this one was a newer IPO was the only thing I was worried about. Okay. And so I started to take a short on the fourth pop right there. You can see what I mean by the fourth pop. So generally 1 pop, 2 pop, 3 pop, 4 pop, right? And then I was going to cover right there on my measly, I think it was like 10,000 shares I had at the time. And then this thing, trade zero literally froze on me in the middle of this move here. And it unfroze on me like right there. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I would have reshorted a little bit up here and then waited for the next pop, which would have been perfect. The reality is, Trade Zero is an awesome, awesome brokerage. How long did the short, I held it intraday. I took it off. But, at the end of the day on NUTX, guys, Trade Zero froze on me twice and also enabled me not to be able to cover later in the day, and I'll explain. So Trade Zero froze on me. I had 10,000 shares short right in here, okay? And I opened it back up, and I'm down like 30K right here. And I'm just like super frustrated because I know I would have covered it, and I would have averaged up, right? And the reality is, if they didn't freeze, I probably would have had an average of like 1170s, 1180s with a massive amount of size, maybe like 60K shares. And I probably would have covered under 11, under 1050, and today would have been $100,000 a day. That being said, I still was able to get out of this one, which was a very, very emotional day for me because, believe it or not, guys, at the tops here, I was down $130,000. Or what was it? Something like that. $130,000. Okay? $135,000. You can... I tried to open the app, and it wasn't working fast, Eddie. So anyways, at this point, and I was averaging, I said if we break the highs, I'm going to average up, average up, average up. I started with an 869 average. I ended up getting a 1057 average. So where that white line is right there. And, I saw the amount of volume coming in, and I'm like, there is just no way this thing can continue to trade with that much volume. Everything that I've seen in my career and in the studying that I've done, I've looked back at stocks 20, 10, 5, all years ago, right? I've looked at a ton of stocks, right? With that much volume, with that big of a market cap, with a former runner, this was making a move that was getting into that zone where it was just a must short. And I just couldn't, there's no way in my right mind I was going to cover because I've studied so much in the past to see exactly how these things set up. If I'm going to sit here and say that this thing didn't extend farther than I thought it would, I would be lying to you. Yes, of course this thing extended farther than I thought it would. Okay? But the amount of sheer volume that was coming through, I just felt with all, the volume, the market cap, $7.8 billion market cap, never seen something run like that, very similar. Never seen such an extension that quickly on that many pops, on that big of a straight-up move on the 1 minute with that much volume, right? And I've seen things very similar, though, and they always tend to end up like this, right? It's the only thing that I can remember that hasn't really... okay, so just so you guys know, there's no news on this. There's no catalyst on this, by the way. This thing opened up basically at the where it opened up yesterday. All these things are criteria that I use. Now, if this would have gapped up, consolidated, this thing could have kept running, right? You guys remember DWAC, right? You guys are going to say, oh, what about DWAC, okay? Well, DWAC had news on it, okay? DWAC also gapped up that day. If you go back and look, we gapped from 9 to 1260s, okay? And then, everyone knew this thing in their right mind that it had news. And then it extended, but if you go back and look, we can try and go back and look at it. Let's see it today. You can see, this is a similar type concept, but the biggest thing is this had news. It wasn't necessarily a former runner, okay? That's another big thing. The volume was similar, right? But again, no news, and also we're not in a hot market either. I was 95.5 on the setup. We'll put it that way. I can keep going with more and more things that I use to kind of build my conviction into this trade. But overall, there's a lot of things that I put forth into this trade that I felt I was very comfortable short. Now, the reason why it's not a six-figure day, it's not a $100,000 day, is that I was just, unfortunately, Trade Zero froze on me and it ruined my mindset into this trade. It really did. I was prepared for anything going into this, but after $10, after $9, I was always going to be short biased, okay? And I can keep giving you more and more reasonings on why I was short biased. But, long story short, this thing was going to fade 99 times out of 100 in my opinion. Nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's for sure. If it's guaranteed, why wasn't I all in? Well, it's not guaranteed. You know, I was pretty well all in for the risk that I was willing to take, to be honest. But I was able to get my average up a little bit, and then I ended up covering. And then not only that, but I covered, my goal was $10. So we got under $10 here. And then I couldn't cover my last 10,000 shares, and I was trying to right in here, couldn't do it. It actually ended up working out in my favor because I covered down in here. But it's really scary when you have a stock this volatile with that much volume. It could easily squeeze you out quickly, right? I mean, it could have easily done that if I didn't have all the reasonings and the conviction on my side. It would have squeezed most people out. But I had a solid amount of reasoning, and I've been on a little bit of a green streak, so that also helped me keep my positioning as well. If I wasn't on a green streak, if I wasn't, having a nice padding over the past couple weeks to month or so, things would have changed a little bit today. But again, I always tell you guys, when you have a little bit of padding, when you have a little bit of green streak on your side, you're going to allow yourself a little bit more risk off, especially when you're as convicted as that. I think for NUTX, the entire locates cost me about $1,200, I think it was, for all the shares, I believe. It was like $1,200, something like that. Yeah. So, and then Evo cost me like $300 or $170 or something. So, yeah, you have to pay to borrow the share short, but, and that's basically it today, guys. I have nothing more to cover. Man, it was a $200,000 swing today. I saw today's day totals. I had $20,000 in realized gains. I saw them, go through basically. It was down 150 grand total in the actual trade. But like I said, if I'm 95.5, I'm more than willing to take that risk. Now, sure, there would have been a point to cover the short. I'm not saying there wasn't, because you do have to understand where your losses are going to and take them. You can't just get stubborn, especially when you're shorting, because GameStop will show you otherwise. But I've never seen a parabolic runner start like that and go straight up and extend on volume. Each candle had more and more and more volume. That is a sign also of just people who are just FOMOing in, and then before you know it, they get dumped on. So you have to understand the psychology of trading, guys. Anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys for subscribing to the NorMagnalTrading.com community. You guys have any? I'm not a financial advisor. Trade at your own risk. Have a plan to process a strategy. Free chat. Link description below. My questions. My processing link description below. Do you guys have any questions about today at all? Questions, comments, concerns? I'll answer the first three questions because there's quite a few people in here. Appreciate that, Fast Eddie. You're welcome, Chris Mountain. Joshua Estrada, you're welcome. No, I didn't really use Vayru as a guide. But I was thinking about it. TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Chillier, I'm talking about NUTX, NUTX. Panda, any tips with a small account? Just keep compounding it. Know your risks. Play things that are volatile. That's how you grow quicker. Play things that make 20, 30, 50, 100% moves. But those are also very hard to do. I keep hearing about Guardian. I don't know. Let me know, Alan. I don't know about it. I keep hearing these good things about it. What would have been your stop out point or on the short? Honestly, my stop out point probably would have been if we were down in under 11 and we retest highs. I probably get close to stopping out. I probably would have tried to manage my trade. I would have covered some shares and tried to short a bit higher, but it's all just kind of like in the moment. Like how's the volume looking? How's the tape looking? How's the level 2 looking? Are we overextended? How much sell-off had happened? It's all kind of in the moment. I needed to let this thing make this massive move before I set my risk-off levels. And once this did make this massive move, I kind of set my risk-off level like $14. If we get above 14, I might have to reposition my trade, basically meaning cover some shares and try and be short a little bit higher. But it all just varies on how the thing is extending, how it's all moving, how the volume's rotating. It can really vary quite tremendously. Were you concerned about something out of left field, like a takeover? Fast Eddie, not really. And honestly, if that did happen, then the reality is it was already extended pretty high. So, but no, I've never seen that. No, especially that quickly, guys. I mean, look at the main thing is, guys. This thing started its run at. I'm not gonna even count this. It started its real run at 8:30, and the highs were at 10:50. So in 2 hours and 20 minutes, this thing had moved, almost $10 a share, $9 a share, right? So I mean, this thing was definitely overextended. Now I didn't expect it to dump like that, but basically what happened with it dumping like that is it's probably not going to be in play tomorrow for a long, depending on how it gaps. How much extra are you putting into long term on these new lows? So if the SPY gets under probably 405, maybe 400, I'm going to double up my account. So right now, I think it's like I'm doing about 3,800 a day. I'd probably bump it up to about 8K a day, and that probably double it. FSH for sure. Thanks, Cam. KS, yeah, I'm just recovering from the GameStop loss. I know that I'm a good shorter. Again, I want to take positions from the long and short side. There's always going to be an opportunity when the stock is extending or it's falling, and I want to take advantage of both sides. It makes me think clear, really. If you're able to take advantage of both sides, it helps you understand the longs and the shorts mindset. And you can also start to understand why a long could work out and why a short could work out. And when you're constantly looking at like NUTX, for an example, on the long and short side, there is no way I'm taking a long in here. Not a chance. Not even a chance in here. No way. I'm all short biased up here. That's it. There's not even an ounce of me that says I want to take a long. Now, if we're down here or maybe in here, sure. I might have a little bit of long bias. But as soon as we break up here, and especially here, I'm all short biased. Fast Eddie, no, I got about a month left. I'm super excited. Oh, and by the way, I got the account over 500,000 today. That's awesome. Alrighty, guys. I appreciate you guys for subscribing to our MagnoTrading.com community. I've been on here long enough. I appreciate you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm not a financial advisor, trade your own risk. I have a plan, a process, and a strategy. I'll see you